What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. Today we're back with the Cobra. That's right, it's time to get the transmission back in. I'll probably film this video over the next 2, maybe 3 days. I'm gonna kind of take my time with it. Not gonna rush anything, but I wanted to show you that I got everything cleaned up prior to starting this video, including this beautiful transmission, which came out super, super nice. I am gonna test fit the new pilot bearing on here just to make sure that this shaft is okay, and there's no play in anything here. I mean, this transmission is literally like new. I got all the rust off of it. There's a little bit of pitting from where the salt water was on here, but I think it's gonna be just fine, guys. Let me find the pilot bearing real quick. Let's just make sure it fits and snugs up like it's supposed to. We also probably want to pack all this with some it looks like it's already packed with grease. We're gonna add some grease anyway. Let's just slide it on. Perfect. Look how tight of a fit that is. You always want to make sure. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry, but I mean, I can wobble it. There is no play. Not only is there no play in the shaft, there's no play in these bearings either. These are really nice roller bearings. These are needles. So before I put all of this on, I'm going to lube this up with some high temp grease. I'm also going to add some grease to the splines and some grease here as well. I bought another one of these studs. It's like a pivot for the fork. I don't think we're going to need it. This is in perfect shape, so I'm probably not going to use that. I got all that from LMR. Also got a new fork, and then we got the new throwout bearing sitting over there. Obviously, new pilot bearing we got to drive in. In this box from LMR, we have a new flywheel. So that's a big deal because I was having a very hard time finding a flywheel for this at the parts store. Now we got one. So we need to bolt up a flywheel. We need to get the pilot bearing into this. Hopefully, let's make sure it's the right size. Hopefully she'll fit up in here. I cleaned up the engine all around the surfaces where everything goes. I cleaned up these dowels, so it'll be a lot easier for the engine to go back on again. We just got to make sure that this is going to fit. Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to drive it in, but I can feel already. That's a good fit. That's a good fit. Take you a block of wood or a socket. You want a socket that's going to fit over the outside diameter because you don't want it to hit the bearings. So the outside diameter, find you a nice socket, a big one, and you can just get it as even as you can. Put a little bit of lube on this to help it go in. Just get it kind of centered, and you can center it by hand. Get it started. See how good that looks? And then with a socket, gently just start tapping it in. You don't have to be crazy forceful with it, but you'll notice it's got a lip, so it will bottom out. There's a like kind of a little lip in here too. So once it gets in there, it's going to bottom out, and then you're going to know you're good to go. I think we're ready to put this thing back together, guys, and actually take it for a real drive where we could actually shift the gears. Okay, I've gotten quite a bit done off camera. There's no point in filming all this. You guys have done this before, right? I may have gone a little heavy on the grease. What do you guys think? Look, a little extra grease is fine. I'll deal with it. We got a little grease on the ball there. This is a brand new, genuine Ford fork. We got the new throwout bearing installed. A little grease on the face of that too. A little grease on the face of it. Basically, a little grease everywhere. I even put grease on the dowels just to make sure it slides back onto the engine somewhat easy. If you look how nice and easy that glides. Looks good. I'm happy with that. Next, let's move and look at the old throwout bearing. Look at this and listen. Yeah, that's awful. I got the new pilot bearing installed. I used a 17 mil socket, worked perfect, and a hammer. We got the new flywheel in here, and this is where I ran into a problem. I'll see what you guys think. There's the new pilot bearing, lined up, centered perfectly all the way in. But I'm using some of the old hardware because I'm a little concerned with the ARP studs that I bought. Take a look and tell me what you think, okay? Here's the ARP studs right here. Obviously, this is going to be a superior stud. The problem is, do you see the difference between the new and old? Look how much smaller the ARP studs are and shorter on top of that. I don't know, guys. I don't trust it. I do trust the factory hardware, though, so even though it looks a little rough, I'm going to throw this back in, and even though I see no signs of there ever being any type of thread locker on here, I'm going to add just a dab of blue thread locker to each one of these studs just for added security. And my new clutch bolts, they're laying over here somewhere. They have a thread locker on them too. It was really cool. I was able to buy this from Late Model Restorations. I don't know where it's at though. I got some hardware right here. This is going to be for the clutch, and this bolts the clutch up to the flywheel, and it comes with some thread locker already included. Oh, we also have these dowels we have to install on the flywheel as well. So that's what I'm going to get to. I'm going to use the factory hardware because I just don't trust these short ARP studs. You guys comment below and tell me what you think. Now this is something y'all's probably not used to. I got a freaking torque wrench on here, man. Set to 85 pounds. The torque specs are between 75 and 85. I decided to go a little on the tight side. And here's how I do it. See this screwdriver? Take a look. Works perfect. Just drive it right through the flywheel. Let it rest up on the engine. And then you can sit here and torque this thing down. And I kind of do it like you do a tire, a wheel. I'm sure there's a torque pattern. I don't follow it. Just kind of crisscross, you know, in a star pattern and work your way around. Then when you're done, I like to do one on each side all the way around just to make sure. I've got around 85 and she's pretty close. Or maybe she's not close at all. I thought we were getting somewhere. Come on, there we go. We're getting there. It's just gonna take a little bit, guys. I'm gonna keep working her around, and then fun starts. We get to actually start putting this thing back together. So let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. Now that I've gone around and around and around, we should have this thing buttoned up. This is nice because it gives you a nice audible. Whew. We're getting there, but damn. We're within spec. It's between 75 and 85. All of these are over 80. I'm gonna hit them one more time though. Better safe than sorry. Next fun part, the clutch and the alignment tool. We've got everything bolted up here. Everything looks good. I'm happy with it. Now let's slide this in to the pilot bearing. She sits nice and happy right there. Seems to fit just fine. And be very careful because next we got this big berth. And I've already, by the way, I've already cleaned everything with, I've got my brake cleaner there in the rags. I've already cleaned the surfaces of the flywheel and the pressure plate with, oh my gosh. Ooh, I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Oh my, good Lord have mercy. Now, the great thing about this, I had to bang these little nubs, like that one there, and that one there, and that one up there. I had to bang those into the flywheel with a hammer. They didn't come pre-installed, so that was a lot of fun. But those nubs actually have a place, one right there, and another one right there. So all you gotta do is kind of find, oh my goodness. Not easy to do one-handed, but if you find where they go, you can kind of see, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, there we go. There it is. And this should keep everything nice and centered where it's supposed to be. As you can see, looks really, really good. And you can see where those little nubs serve a good purpose, man. It's hard to see, I'm sure, but let me get some bolts in here before, uh-oh. Don't tell me these don't fit. You've got to be joking me. These are the wrong size? Ford sent me the wrong size. He sent me the wrong size. Perfect. Perfect. This is the story of my freaking life, man. So thankfully I have the old ones here, but I didn't have them ready, so I'm going to have to break out the, the blue thread locker, and we're going to have to reinstall these. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have a clutch, we have a flywheel, we have a pressure plate. Everything looks nice and lined up, nice, centered, absolutely perfect. I couldn't ask for anything better than that. Everything looks good. The bolts for the pressure plate are 35 foot-pounds. I have torqued those down as well. So everything is torqued, everything is in. You know what's left? This is big, man. This is my goal for today. I didn't expect I'd get it done because I've been too busy filming other stuff, but what I do want to get done is I want to get the transmission under here, and I want to get it reinstalled, guys. But before we can reinstall the transmission, and I'm not going to bolt the whole thing up tonight. It's getting late. I'm ready to go home. But what I am going to do is I cleaned this up already. I mean, this was so bad. I mean, I know it still looks bad, but trust me when I tell you this was so bad. I don't even remember which way this goes. There we go. It's going to go just like this, and there are some locating dowels. Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, it goes behind. Uh-oh, was I supposed to put this on first? No. Wait a minute. Don't tell me I messed up. Tell me I can still fix this, right? Come on. Oh, there we go. Onto the locating dowel. Oh, come on. There we go. There's one. That almost turned into a big mistake where I had to undo all of this and do it all over again from scratch. Oh, I'd have been so upset. There we go. Let's move this clutch cable out of the way. All right, now that we got this, whoa, hey now, you're a rock star. Get up there, get that out of the way. This is attached to the locating dowels, although if you'll notice, all the bolts seem to line up, except for this one. This one's crooked. We're gonna have to adjust on this a little bit. All right, now, where most of your problems are gonna come from when you're trying to reinstall a transmission is getting the splines lined up correctly. That's usually pretty difficult. Thankfully, this doesn't have a large spline count, so this shouldn't be that hard. And my trick is once you get it up there, if it doesn't want to go in, just simply turn the output shaft. Right here, just turn it, get a little bit at a time, doesn't take much, just turn it a little bit and and push at the same time. And when you feel it, you'll feel it go, and hopefully it finds the locating dowels just fine, and everything goes back together without incident. But we all know that's not how reality works. Now, I know that you guys don't have a very good view of what's going on here, and well, let me just apologize for that. There's really nothing I can do. My goal is to get the transmission in the car, bring you guys along with me as best I can. And we got to watch out for the shaft. The last thing I want to do is catch the shaft on anything. I can already see the transmission's kind of tilted a little bit the wrong direction. So before we go any further, let's come up here and just kind of check everything out. And keep your hands on it so that, you know, there we go. Upsy daisy. We'll get her close. Let's make sure that fork is, yeah, nice and smooth. Oh boy, we're gonna have to bring her a little bit closer. There we go. Upsy daisy. I know. We're getting there. We're close, but we're not close enough. Whew. We're hitting. I was afraid of that. So, how close are we? Not close. Not close. Lovely. Guess what? I'm gonna come back when I get this somewhat figured out. Well, it has been, it's been a night. I'm not quite done yet. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna do a two-parter on this, guys. We're gonna come back, finish putting it together, and hopefully take it out for a test drive. I really don't want to do this again. But before we get out of here, I wanted to show you something. My buddy Brian from Lunar Outlaws Garage sent me a couple things that I just wanted to show you guys. I swear I told him when he showed me these, I said, this is like the tools you didn't even know you needed. You know, you didn't know you needed them until they were here. Now, I don't have any studs on this manifold, but let's just say that I did. This is called the Carb Buddy. All right, it literally sits on top of your manifold. So if you don't have a carburetor on there, God knows you drop things, you know. Oops, you dropped a big, well, you probably wouldn't drop a giant stud like that, but you get what I'm saying. You could easily drop a bolt or a nut down there this prevents that from happening. So if you're going to be leaving your car for any length of time, it's a good idea just to slap one of these on if there's no carburetor. Slap it on. It gives you a nice little dish. You can store tools, bolts, nuts, whatever, because God knows if you were to drop one of these, well, that's not a good example. Let's say you dropped it down there, right, on the engine. Are you kidding me? You're going fishing. Thankfully, this is off the engine, so it should just fall right back out. But this could save you a massive headache and a lot of time. And you're supporting a local business. Small business, man. Go check them out. Lunar Outlaws Garage on YouTube. I'll put a link below the video. Now, let's say you do have a carburetor and you don't want to leave it wide open to the elements. Check this out. This is the other version of the Carb Buddy. It sits just like that. It's nice and snug, too. I mean, this is a good snug fit. And yet again, you've got the deep dish bowl where you can throw your stuff in. You don't have to worry about it leaving it open to the elements. I think this is a great idea. And I told him when I saw it, I said, man, this is a tool I didn't even know I needed. But this is awesome. He also, see that little spot in the center? That's for a 1/4 inch. In case you've got a stud coming out of your carburetor, you can just drill that out with a 1/4 inch and you can drop it on. You could use a wing nut or anything to tighten it back down to make sure it doesn't come off. Keep a lot of the elements and things you don't want falling down into your intake manifold out. I think it's a great idea. I think he's on to the next big thing, man. So if you're interested in supporting local business, small business, I highly recommend you go check him out. I'm going to put a link to his store below this video, along with a link to his channel. I highly recommend you go subscribe and show him some love. Now, let's show you guys what I did and what I got left to do. I can't do it anymore tonight, guys. I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm done. I'm sweating like crazy, and I'm filthy, and it was a bad day already. So, as you can see, we got the transmission back in, man. Everything looks nice. We got the trans mount in. The transmission's completely bolted up. I've got all the wiring done. We've got the clutch cable installed. We've got the starter. Let me tell you, that starter, having to use a borescope to put a bolt in a starter is the stupidest thing I have ever heard of in my life, guys. Absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, we've got everything reinstalled. Everything is connected. So what's left? Obviously, there's no drive shaft. Definitely need a drive shaft. And after the drive shaft, unfortunately, the part that I hate is the exhaust. That exhaust is, it's kind of a bear. Not gonna lie, the exhaust is kind of a bear. And then there's this little subframe thing connector that goes under here. I mean, it's not a whole lot to do. What I'm thinking, though, honestly, is I will probably install the drive shaft tomorrow. And before I go installing this massive headache of an exhaust, I'm serious, this exhaust is such a pain, especially if you're doing it by yourself. And before I put on this, like, subframe connector, I think that's what you call it. It's a weird one, but I'm going to put that drive shaft back in, bolt her down, and then I think she's ready to start. So I say open headers, we drop her down, and we make sure, before we go bolting all the really PITA stuff back together, let's make sure the clutch works, right? And if the clutch works, great. Then we can finish bolting it together, and we'll be happy, and everything's going to be great. And if not, still going to be a pain, but at least we don't have all that stuff to take back apart again. Now, if you're wondering what the old flywheel looked like, this is the nodular flywheel. This is a 10.5 inch. I found that out the hard way by buying the wrong one. So there you go. 10.5 inch flywheel right there, guys. It's a factory Ford. And honestly, considering it was under salt water, it really don't look that bad. I mean, you could have resurfaced. I had a lot of people asking me, why didn't you resurface it versus going out and buying new? That's easy, guys. Finding places out here that resurface flywheels these days? No. And I know what you're thinking. O'Reilly's does it. Nope. No, they don't. They don't. I looked it up online, and only select O'Reilly Auto Parts will do that, and we don't have any. The nearest one for me was like 2 hours away. I'm not driving 2 hours, you know what I mean, to get a flywheel resurfaced. Now, I'd rather just buy one. Here's what's left of the old pilot bearing. As you can see, it was absolutely destroyed. So the throwout bearing, all destroyed. We got the old pressure plate and the old clutch disc, man. I was really surprised at how nice this clutch disc is. Now remember, This car is on its original clutch. It may not have 11,000 miles on it, but I promise you, this car does not have more than 20, 25,000 miles on it. And looking at how good the clutch is, and look how much material there is before the rivets, this clutch was not even broken in. Like, I don't think this car has hardly any miles on it at all. Here's the old fork that we took out. I mean, we could have reused this, but why? You know what I mean? I replaced everything within reason that I thought needed to be replaced. I even used torque wrenches, guys. I got 2 of them. I got the old school just to be safe. I got the old school torque wrench. I got the new school torque wrench. I mean, I went out of my way to make sure this car was going back together the right way, because I don't want to have to do this job again. And if I end up selling it to somebody down the road, I don't want them having to do this job again either. So with that, man, I am going to get out of here. You know it's serious when the hat comes off, man. A lot of people think I'm bald. I'm not. I promise you, I got lots of hair. I got too much hair. I need to go get a haircut. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the thumbs up button, man. Let me know. I truly appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, stay safe out there, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon in the next one.